Hello Virgo, this is your love and relationship reading for November 2017. Just a few more seconds and I will cut the cards. And the first card is a Nine of Cups. I have a King of Wands reversed. I have an Eight of Pentacles. This is a King of Pentacles. I have the Empress. I have a Ten of Pentacles. Now Pentacles represent Earth, which is your element. I have a Knight of Pentacles. And I have a Page of Swords. An Eight of Wands. And then I will pull the outcome card after the main reading. So, lots of Pentacles here. Eight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles. So you know, considering that this is your element here, definitely this is about you taking charge, you making decisions. A lot of decisions and actions that you're taking that are playing out in the future. Also, the Empress, she is also the goddess of the material world as well, which is represented by Pentacles. She's sort of like the goddess of all the Pentacles, actually, even the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is a daughter to the Empress. So this mother figure, this goddess of prosperity and happiness and motherhood even, is right in the center of your spread. So your element and your nature are very strongly expressed when you take the Empress into account. 5 of your cards are related to earth and stability and growth. And so this is a good sign in your reading, because it means that you're going through shifts and changes that, and you don't have any other major arcana card except the Empress, which could be an important message from the tarot, that the only major arcana card that came up is the Empress, but it's surrounded by all of these pentacles and surrounded by this earth. So Virgo, in the month of November, your nature, your energy is going to be very strong as far as making decisions and taking control over particular events and manifesting what you want. Okay? And I think that's very important here as far as love and relationships. It also means that, especially with this Empress here in the middle, your influence can be very, very strong. Sometimes when I look at the Empress, as I've said many times before in love and relationship readings, sometimes the Empress can be this seductive figure because she's also attached and she's also related to sexuality and mating and having children and family and motherhood. But sometimes I do see that Empress as the seductive force of a third party, boy or girl, man or woman. And sometimes I look to see, well, is this someone who's attached to you, the person I'm reading for, or is there someone who's interfering in the relationship? So the Empress is sort of a very interesting card whenever I see it, because I try to look at the context of the cards here and try to understand what's going on. It does not mean that some of you might be dealing with an ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend interfering, but keep in mind the original meaning of the Empress is this strong feminine energy that is related to prosperity and happiness and a happy home. And the Empress is also someone who's adored. She represents a woman that someone is in love with. Okay? And so this is the energy of a strong relationship, a man and woman um, joining together to make a family. But there's a very strong sexual element as well, that your sexual power could also be very strong. So let's look at the other cards here, especially these pentacles, to get a bigger picture, because I do feel that with all these pentacles around, the nature of this Empress is your desirability and you being attractive to someone. So this first row here, as we start off, we have a Nine of Cups. And this Nine of Cups is also about hospitality in the home as well, actually. And it's about emotionally being generous and giving and satisfied. You have everything you want. Now, for some of you, this could be in general about having happiness in the home, maintaining your security in a relationship, especially if some of you are in relationships where you're living together. So one of the things I'm seeing here is a King of Wands reversed. When fire is reversed, the element of fire, it's usually associated with um, lack of discipline, losing your temper, and and in extreme cases, it can mean someone who can be very angry and abusive. But in general, the King of Wands, when it's not reversed, you're looking at someone. It could represent an actual person. Some of you might be attached to someone with strong fire in their house of relationships, or if they're not directly a fire sign in their astrological chart, you're looking at a passionate lover. He is very faithful, he's dependable. But when that energy is sort of reversed, you're dealing with someone who's very arrogant, who's self-centered, who has to have their way, very controlling. And so when I get here to the first card with Pentacles, that Eight of Pentacles, you're trying to work around this. You're trying to deal with this energy here. And it might not even be a person who's controlling and arrogant. It could be a particular situation where you're trying to keep everything stable. You're trying not to let everything blow up, or get chaotic here. And most Virgos, and just like most earth signs, and this can also refer to Taurus, and it can also refer to Capricorn as well, where your goals, you're the earth signs who try to keep everything together. You're the ones who know what you want. You're always the dependable, practical person. And in a way, you kind of have to have your own way because you're grounded with Earth, which is a very slow energy, but can also be a little bit stubborn. You're like, okay, I need to make sure everything is going smoothly. You're the fixer-uppers here. So I see this chaotic energy with a reversed King of Wands, this dominant energy where your happy home and your emotional happiness is being disrupted. And it could be someone acting out. So, what I find interesting here, especially with a knight, with a king and a knight of pentacles as well, they both have different roles here. The king, once again, is someone who rules. And a king of pentacles is, it can represent someone who's a good business person, someone who can make money. And it's also riches and prosperity. And I kind of feel like you guys, especially you Virgos, you are the ones who do make those sacrifices, and you're almost like martyrs. But you're holding things together in this relationship. You're the ones providing stability. You're the ones keeping things running smoothly. But you're also very determined, and you're the protectors. So your tendency, especially with this strong energy of the Empress and the Ten of Pentacles, which is about prosperity and happy home as well. So I'm getting this very strong impression of some of you who might be in long-standing relationships with the happy home and the family and the children, and you are the ones keeping all of this contained and happy, and you're making the sacrifices. But there's someone else, this King of Wands, who has this tempestuous fire energy that's reversed. They're not consistent. They're not committed. They might be there 1 minute and gone the next. They're easily led by other distractions and other people and even other relationships. So I'm seeing this whole narrative, especially in the first 6 cards. You have those 6 cards, 3 of them are pentacles. A lot of your energy here is surrounding this King of Wands, and the King of Wands is reversed, and you're trying to, I almost feel like some of you are making sacrifices, big sacrifices to keep this relationship, going, even though this person is not holding up their end of the bargain. And that's just a general impression. I know that this plays out in different ways for some of you. But keep in mind, this could be related to a specific person, even if this person is not a sun, their sun sign is not related to fire. You know, they might not be an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. But just keep in mind that in their astrological chart, they could have fire in their house of relationships and romance and love. So a lot of, you know, this seesaw is, well, not a seesaw, but, you know, the balance is out of whack here. You're giving too much and this person is giving too little. Or this situation is making you the person who's giving too much, even financially, and someone else is giving too little. Okay, you want to be happy. This is the card of generosity. And so I would even go so far to say that the tarot seems to be giving a little bit of a warning for you Virgos, the ones who are giving and making the sacrifices and being generous and giving people the benefit of the doubt. You could be giving too much in this relationship, and it might be time to pull back. So when we get here to more of the extended future here, now we see a Knight of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is the master of this situation. The King of Pentacles rules. Knights are about changes and taking action and going to war and facing obstacles. They deal with the obstacles directly. The king gives directions to the knights to go to war and fight. And so I kind of see this as you shifting your energies to addressing some of the obstacles here. And it's quite possible, especially seeing that this page of swords, it's a card of truth, delivering truth. It can be a card of a delay, waiting for something, and then you have to wait a little bit longer. That's the tarot saying you're going to have to wait, but just be patient. But I'm seeing this more about I think it's more about you addressing this conflict here. This person who gives you excuses and never follows through. And it's also a card about caution, that you need to have your wits about you and not let someone take advantage of you. That's the strongest message that I'm seeing here. And you'll note that as this person holds the sword, he's holding the sword up to guard against lies, to guard against negative and toxic influences. Okay, so this is you being on your guard. This knight has the pentacles, but this sword is also relevant as well. So what I find interesting here is that this card, this Eight of Wands, this is a card of speed, and it's also a card of surprises. And they can be good surprises. It can mean something that, a message you've been waiting on, finally comes through. It can mean travel as well. Some of you might be in long distance relationships. And one element to this story here, especially seeing that we do have a King of Wands here, is that this King of Wands, there might be a surprise from this King of Wands reverse. It doesn't necessarily mean a negative one, because I kind of feel like the result of this Eight of Wands showing up, it's because of your actions and your decisions with this King of Pentacles and the action of this Knight of Pentacles. I feel like in November, you Virgos are going to have to make definite decisions here, using the energy of the Page of Swords to say, okay, you need to get it together. If we're going to be together, if we're going to see each other, you need to do something. And so this fire energy, these wands that are approaching you, I kind of see a resolution here that comes about because of that Page of Swords and that Knight of Pentacles, because you have made a decision to take specific action here. I also feel for some of you, especially if there's a divorce or separation going on, you are trying to protect your homes, and you're trying to protect your material world, your job, your home, your means of prosperity, and your money. And someone is putting that in danger as well in the relationship. And that does happen. Sometimes it's not always about falling in love or how someone feels. Many times relationships and obstacles in relationships have a lot to do with money and living together and having a home and a family, which is quite, probably a prevalent story for quite a lot of you. So I see this Page of Swords with you saying, okay, I'm tired of this situation. I'm tired of your inconsistency. I'm tired of this person taking me for granted. I'm also tired of this person avoiding responsible decisions in the relationship. They're either committed or they're not. And so this Eight of Wands is sort of the tarot saying to you that, okay, don't worry, because if you decide to stand up for yourself which I definitely see in the Page of Swords, this person, this situation is going to be resolved. So I'm going to pull your outcome card. And a card did fall out. Interesting. This is a Three of Wands. Very interesting. So another wand came out in response to this spread. And this Three of Wands is a very important card, especially considering the narrative I just explained, because this is the card of having those expectations, waiting for news. And some of you might be attached to a person who's been screwing up and dropping the ball because they've got some issues with their job, they've got issues with other aspects of their life, especially if there's some unfinished business they have to take care of. So when I see this Three of Wands in your outcome, this is about active waiting. It's about a bright future, just keeping an eye on the ball and being more responsible. And I feel like for some of you, this might be about a shift in this situation with this Wands energy, this King of Wands, where the Eight of Wands is sort of like, okay, I'm getting it together. Now, some of you might actually be meeting someone you've been previously separated from. Maybe you haven't heard from this person in a while. For some of you Virgos, it's actual travel. But when we come from this Eight of Wands, this surprise, this like suddenly things start coming together here, I feel like this coming together is going to be the result of, okay, so we know where we're going. We have a clear direction of where this relationship is going. We're getting past this obstacle. Here's how we're going to solve it. Whether it's the money or the other relationship or a separation or, even something as commitment issues. This Eight of Wands and Three of Wands together is sort of the tarot seeing you with your stability and your responsibility, saying, okay, here's what we need to do. And you're either going to start doing it or I'm done. And so I feel like, it feels like you've been taken advantage of and you've been the stable person and you've been the responsible one. And I feel also that for some of you, this person is not intentionally acting like a screw up or an uncommitted person, but they need to get to a particular point in their life, or they need the situation that's surrounding them needs to change a little bit to where they can finally get a move on. Okay. So Virgo, that was your reading. And just a quick thank you to all of my subscribers and my regular customers. I really appreciate the support you give me every month, and it's always wonderful to read the YouTube comments and have some of you share how much the readings speak to you and how much they resonate. So I'm always glad to hear that. And you'll also know that I do have a special promotion. My personal readings, which is basically what I do every month here, you can have your own personal reading, just like this one, for $15 for the month of November. Okay. Go to tarotbyaire.com. You'll see a book now button. And if you click that button, it'll actually take you to all the services I provide. So check it out, especially my new subscribers. So thank you once again. As always, I wish you love and light, and I'll definitely see you next month.